to Section 3 of Financial Appraisal. In this section, we will take a close look at the key measures which ensures financial stability of various suppliers. It is vital to identify key factors that propagate the financial stability of our suppliers. So this section, that is Section 3, is going to deal with key measures of financial stability. At the end of this section, we should know the measures of financial stability, define financial ratios, be able to identify the types of financial ratios, know the significance of financial ratios, identify types of financial ratios, and be able to explain the limitations of financial ratios. What measures of financial stability? Financial stability refers to a firm's ability to meet its financial obligations and gauge the overall possibility of default. Financial stability relates to the ability to pay overhead expenses, pay down debt, and return capital to investors. Organizations can use their balance sheet, their income statements, and their cash flow statements to measure their financial stability. We explained these three financial statements in the previous section. So these three types, the balance sheet, or the statement of financial position, the income statement, also known as the profit and loss statement, and the cash flow statement, are quantitative means of measuring our financial stability. This is because they are not done based on our opinions or subjective opinions of experts. It's made based on facts, figures. Another way organizations can use to measure the financial stability of their suppliers is when the supplying organization has strong management and branding, which creates goodwill. This type of measure is the qualitative way of measuring financial stability. So this is telling us that we can have quantitative and qualitative measures of financial stability. We can use the balance sheet, the income statement, and cash flow statement as the quantitative measures of financial stability. Then we have strong management and branding, which creates goodwill, as a qualitative measure of financial stability. Financial theories has come up with so many models to estimate financial stability. Popular one among them is the Altman's Z-score, which is a formula used to predict that a firm will go bankrupt within 2 years. So, but a buying organization using the Altman Z-score to ascertain a supplying organization's financial stability will be able to know which supplier to work with and which suppliers are likely to go in bankrupt in the near future within 2 years, and so which suppliers we stay away from. Another model is the Mertens model. The Mertens model is used to determine how capable an organization is to meeting financial obligations. We're not going to go into detail how these models work because that is not our main focus in this course. However, what we should know is that the interest in developing models to make predictions tells us how important financial status is to an organization. A basic approach to measuring financial stability is through the financial ratios. We're going to briefly go over some of these ratios used in measuring the financial stability of organizations. Financial ratios provide a quick and relatively simple means of assessing the financial health of an organization. So how these ratios work is that we compare data taken from our financial statements to gain meaningful information. Example, when we compare profits to operating capital, we're able to know some information in our processes of organizational dealing, as well as limitations and what we can do to improve on our organizations or our profits. By calculating a small number of ratios, it is often possible to build up a good picture of the position and performance of a potential supplier. It is not surprising, therefore, that ratios are widely used by those who have an interest in businesses and business performance. Financial ratios can be grouped into 5 categories, each of which relates to a particular aspect of financial performance or position. The following broad categories provide a useful basis for explaining the nature of the financial ratios. We have the profitability ratios, the liquidity ratios, efficiency ratios, investment ratios, and the gearing ratios. The profitability ratios measures how well an organization performs in generating profit. That is, the ability of an organization to earn profit from its sales and operations. That is what refers to the profitability ratios. There are a number of ratios under the profitability ratios, and we'll go over some of these ratios in the subsequent sections. We also have the liquidity ratios, which refers to the ease with which an asset can easily be converted into cash. Liquidity is the measure of the ability of a debtor or an organization to pay their debt as and when they fall due. So ability to convert your asset into cash simply is what referred to as liquidity ratio, so that as and when your debts are due, you're able to pay them. We then have the efficiency ratios, which are used to measure the efficiency with which particular resources have been used within the organization. So how able is this organization using its assets to generate income? How efficient are their processes? How efficient are they using their assets to generate income in order to make sure at the end of the period they earn some profit? These efficiency ratios are the strong indicator of the quality of management, since they reveal how well management is utilizing company resources. We have the investment ratios, which are concerned with assessing the returns of performance of shares in a particular business from the perspective of shareholders who are not involved with the management of the business. This investment ratio tells us how much investors are willing to pay for a dollar of earning. That is, how much an investor is willing to pay for a particular earning. We should know that the higher the ratio, the more investors are willing to spend. Finally, we have the gearing ratios, which is the degree to which an organization's activities are funded by shareholders versus creditors' funds. So what percentage of your funding is obtained from loans, creditors? What percentage is obtained from your shareholders, the sale of shares? The level of gearing has an important effect on the degree of risk associated with the business. Gearing is therefore something the buying organization must consider when making procurement decisions, because knowing that your supplier uses only borrowings in their daily activities is obviously very important in making your decision. This is very dangerous. So it's important for organizations to know the gearing of their supplying organizations before making certain decisions in their supply chains, or before making certain procurement decisions. There are some limitations to ratio analysis. Ratios may highlight significant trends, but they do not in themselves provide reasons for the trends. For instance, an organization can only know their suppliers have high gearing, that is, a high proportion of their funds is from debt. However, we do not know why this is so. The ratios will not give us reasons for this particular trend. To do this effectively, the interested party may need more information and a deeper insight into the affairs of the business. Often, this may be difficult to obtain because the amount of information available is limited unless the user is a manager within the organization. And in this case, the buying organization is different from the supplying organization. We don't operate the same. So we can only make decisions based on the information they give us, the financial statements they give us. Another limitation is the date at which the accounts are drawn up. Accurate information can only be obtained with a degree of certainty from up-to-date figures. We should also know that accounting is not an exact science. Despite efforts by the accountancy profession to standardize accounting practices, there is still room for a variety of methods in particular cases. This may affect the comparability of different accounts. So it is important for organizations to understand their suppliers' financial position, financial statements using ratios. Ratio analysis may be particularly helpful in highlighting significant comparisons between suppliers, may also highlight significant year-on-year trends, as well as significant sources of suppliers' risk. In conclusion, we have defined financial stability and some measures used to evaluate financial stability. We mentioned the Altman Z-score as one of the earliest formulas for predicting financial distresses, firms, and subsequent bankruptcy. Financial ratios have been used most often to help take key decisions with the help of other indicators. The main classification of financial ratios and their limitations were also presented in this section. Thank you.